All right, so diving in, Frank Julius, Border House Novel Part 3, just finished it, and wow, talk about a whirlwind.
Yeah, this one, he really, he goes there. I mean, you think you've got a handle on the border crisis, the politics, and then bam. Julius hits you with that curveball right off the bat, the president shutting down Border House USA.
Seriously, Eldon and Kimberly Davis, practically national treasures at this point, and suddenly their whole project's a security risk?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like, what is this guy thinking?
Yeah.
You know? And Julius uses that whole situation to really highlight the public outcry. I mean, Governor Newly breathing fire and brimstone, that's not even the half of it.
Oh man, that lawsuit. Talk about a powder keg. States' rights, immigration, human lives hanging in the balance. Julius doesn't shy away from the tough stuff.
Not at all. And that's what makes it so compelling, right? You're reading this and you're like, okay, this is fiction, but it feels way too real.
Exactly, like ripped from the headlines, only with even higher stakes. And then, just when you think you're starting to get a grip on things, Julius throws in Cory Joker, the president's old lawyer, sniffing around, convinced there's more to the border house shutdown than meets the eye.
See, that's where Julius gets me every time. He weaves in those thriller elements, those whispers of conspiracy, and you can't help but get pulled in.
Oh, for sure. And the way he ties it back to Damon first, that journalist who's always got his finger on the pulse of a good scandal, genius.
Totally. Like, they know something big about the president, but they're not giving it away just yet.
Right. You get those little hints, those shared glances, and it's like, okay, what are you not telling me?
And you know it's going to be good. Or bad. Probably both.
This is Julius, after all. He's going to make us work for it, but hey, that's half the fun, right?
Oh, absolutely. The man knows how to spin a yarn.
It's like he sets up this whole chessboard, all these powerful players, these big political moves, and then he brings in Gina and her kids, and it's like, whoa, this just got real.
Right. Suddenly, it's not just about policy debates and power struggles. It's about human beings, families, caught in the middle of this impossible situation.
And you feel it, man. Julius does an incredible job of putting you right there with Gina. That fear, that desperation, but also that fierce love for her children.
Absolutely. We talk about the Freedom Caravan and all the dangers they face, but Julius doesn't just gloss over it. He makes you understand what it's like to walk in Gina's shoes, to sing to your kids, just to drown out the fear for a little while.
And then that scene at the border, man, I saw that coming and it still hit me like a ton of bricks.
It's brutal. And you're right, Julius lays the groundwork so you know it's a possibility. But when it actually happens, when those Homeland Security officers start separating families...
Your heart just breaks for Gina. And to find out it wasn't some random policy, that it came directly from the president.
Chilling, right. I mean, we knew he had his own agenda, but that just takes it to another level.
Seriously messed up. But it does kind of explain his obsession with those photos Cory dug up.
Oh, absolutely. Remember what we talked about? The young girls in those pictures. The link to the president, Fisher, that whole Honduran connection.
Yeah, and how Julius was being deliberately vague about the details. Like, he didn't want to give too much away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he was saving it, that gut punch, for just the right moment. When Cory makes the connection that one of the girls in those photos is a young Gina.
Whoa! Wait, so not only is the president implicated in this whole shady scandal, but he's also responsible for harming Gina and her kids years ago.
It's heavy stuff. And it really throws you for a loop, right? Because just when you think it can't get any worse, Julius throws in another twist.
Oh man, what now?
Eldon and Kimberly Davis, those two, they're like the glimmer of hope in all this darkness. And they team up with Cory, which makes sense, but then you find out Mike Lane is involved too.
The Homeland Security Secretary. But I thought he was in the president's pocket.
That's what we thought, right.
Uh-huh.
But Julius is too smart for that. He uses Lance to show that even in the most corrupt systems, there are still good people trying to do the right thing.
So they're all working together to save Gina and her kids. Talk about an unlikely alliance.
Right. And the clock is ticking because they know Fisher is going to try to silence Gina permanently. I mean, the guy's ruthless. He's not going to think twice about tying up loose ends.
Oh, man, this is giving me anxiety just thinking about it. So what do? They can't exactly call the cops when the president's the one pulling the strings, right?
This is where Julius really brings his A game. He understands how power works, how to play the long game, and he sets up this incredible plan using the president's own paranoia against him.
So they're really going with this flyer campaign. It's like the ultimate act of faith, right? Tossing out a lifeline and hoping someone catches it.
It's risky, no doubt. But Julius makes it clear they're out of options. Traditional media is a no-go. The president's got eyes everywhere. This is their only shot. And then, get this, Diego the musician, remember him?
Yeah, the one who befriended Gina on the caravan.
That's the guy. He sees that flyer, recognizes Gina, and leads Eldon and Kimberly straight to her. Talk about a 1 in a million chance.
But it doesn't mean they're out of the woods yet, right? Finding Gina's empty house, it's like a punch to the gut. You know something's wrong.
Exactly. And Julius doesn't let up on the tension. He makes it clear. Fisher's not playing around. This is a life or death situation, and those kids, they're caught right in the middle.
Man, so what can they even do? It's not like they can storm the embassy, right? I mean, not with the president calling the shots.
This is where Julius's political savvy really comes into play. He brings in the big guns, Secretary McCoy, even Vice President Bancroft. But it's not a brute force move. They go after Martino, the Honduran defense minister.
Ah, right. He's the weak link, the one with the most to lose if everything goes south.
Exactly. And McCoy, he plays it like a pro. Uses that 8-nation pact, the one the Honduran president's been desperate to sign, lures Martino to the U.S. Embassy with promises of aid, cooperation, the whole 9 yards.
So Martino walks right into their trap. But what then? Do they just slap those photos down on the table and hope he spills the beans?
Julius is smarter than that. He understands real power moves. They're often a lot quieter. He has McCoy pull Martino aside, lay out the evidence, but also the stakes. International prosecution, his country's reputation in ruins, Martino's world could crumble. But again, Julius does it his way.
It's what makes Julius's books so powerful.
Yeah.
They're thrillers, they're page-turners, but at their core, they're about hope, about the human spirit enduring, even in the face of impossible odds.
Absolutely. And Border House Novel Part 3, it's a prime example of that. It's a story that stays with you, makes you think, makes you feel. And sometimes that's exactly what we need.